Hello, fam. Welcome back to Dose of Duality, the podcast that dives into deep conversation, cultivating a sense of community around the state of coexistence. I got my lines right, y'all. My name is Alicia Ferguson, and you might notice that Deja is not here today. She is taking a well-deserved break, y'all. Homegirl has been working, and she's on her baby moon. So let's send her lots of love and lots of love. So today, you also might notice that this is a little bit different setup. We're doing it all through the virtual interwebs today, right? A little virtual setup. And we're excited. We're excited to try something new. Can't wait to see how you enjoy this episode. If you like the new way that we might be moving. But this has been so beautiful because we're able to reach our community all over the world this way. And so today we have an amazing actor. He's an award-winning actor. His name is Bernard Gilbert, and he's going to be tuning in and talking with us today. And he's coming from Atlanta. So we made this connection happen because of these virtual interwebs today. So Bernard Gilbert is a writer. He's a poet. He's an artist. And you might know his face from the hit Showtime show, The Chi, as he played Suede da Masseuse. The Masseuse. He was one who was messing with the girl, the older woman, the cougar, and he was the younger guy. I won't give the whole story away, but y'all know if y'all watch the show. But he's gonna be talking about the SAG actor strike, which has been going on. It's still going on. I feel like we're in like day 4 of it right now. I don't know when you'll hear this, but I think it's about day 4 right now. And just how it's affecting the industry, how he sees the outlook for himself personally and just other actors as well, and especially giving us a chance to look in from the Black male perspective, which is very different when it comes to media, when it comes to acting, and when it comes to Hollywood. He also has been starting some amazing new side opportunities. And so if you're an actor or looking to step into that industry, he has some resources and some tools and ways that you can work with him. So tap in, tune in. I'm not going to hold it no more. Let's just hop right into this episode. Hello, we're with Bernard Gilbert today. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Blessed. Glad to be here. Wow.
You are our first virtual guest, so thank you for trusting us as we work this out today.
The pleasure is all mine, like for real. This is such an honor.
Yeah. How are you feeling today? How's your heart feeling?
Full. Super full. I mean, all night I was thinking about how I couldn't really sleep last night. I was excited about this. But also I just had a great day with my family yesterday. And I laid down and it was just so I was still buzzing, just processing all the faces and the little moments, between the moments. And it was good.
Oh, that's beautiful. I was just having a conversation recently. I don't know who it was with actually, but that idea of going back to belonging and just we're in a season where we feel so isolated. And so it's really special when you can, get the whole family together. Everyone's so busy now or just all over the country. So it's hard to make those moments happen.
Exactly. My uncle came down from North Carolina and we don't really see him all the time. So it was great to have, it was my dad and his siblings. So it was great to see my dad, kind of revert back because he's the third youngest out of 15, so to have all these siblings in the house and they're 15. Cutting up, telling
Can
stories.
Can we just pause right there? They don't do that no more. They don't do that
No, we ain't got the stamina. I don't know what happened. We just not built like that anymore.
Nah. Wait, so where was everybody? I mean, I know, but tell the people, where was everyone at?
Where were they at?
Yeah, where was this family gathering at? Where are y'all from?
It was in Atlanta. We're from Atlanta. Well, I'm from, the metro area of Atlanta, like they say. But my family's from LaGrange, Georgia. Actually, both sides of my family. So my mom and my dad were both born in LaGrange Hospital. Mm-hmm. And so the family came up, most of them came up from LaGrange and came to the house.
I love how you had to note the Atlanta Metro because people from Atlanta will call you on it. That's how it was for me growing up in Jersey. It's I'm from Jersey, but I'm close to Philadelphia, but you can't say Like even in New York, when you live in New York, it's like you have to be specific. Like I've lived in New York this long, but I'm from New Jersey. You can't be claiming areas.
Chicago's like that too. Chicago, and I really I didn't mind it. I didn't care. Like I would tell you, I'm from Atlanta in a heartbeat. I went to Morehouse College, which is downtown. Well, it's adjacent, the West End.
I feel like
But
Morehouse people always got to throw Morehouse in there somehow.
it's pertinent. It's a rare situation where it's not relevant. But yeah, I feel like I told everybody I'm from Atlanta. I'm from Atlanta. From Atlanta. Nobody tripped. But going to Chicago, being in Chicago for 10 years and seeing how like you got to be very specific, and Chicago is huge. So you could be from Chicago and be like an hour away from downtown, from the loop, as they say. But Atlanta, Atlanta is like this big. And if I'm 20 minutes, 25 minutes outside of Atlanta, I still feel like it's Atlanta. But, let's not even get into all of that.
I was like, I agree though. And being in Atlanta, I definitely agree with that. And spending more time here now, that 30 minutes outside of the city still feels like I'm in Atlanta. Like 30 minutes, I could still be in Brooklyn. And it's like I'm just in a different part of Brooklyn. So in my head, it feels relative. But, I'm not from here. All y'all Atlanta folks, don't hop in here trying to come at me. I'm just giving my thoughts and my simple opinions.
I appreciate it. Now there's songs now.
Ooh, what songs?
You heard that song.
Oh.
It's not Atlanta. So it's not Atlanta.
What? Huh? I ain't never heard that
It's
one.
a song. It's a song.
Do it again.
I don't even know who.
Do it again.
It's so it's not Atlanta. It's not Atlanta. That's how I picture people singing it. But
what we always do here on the pod is we do a little icebreaker, some word association. So I'm going to tell you how this goes. You down to play?
Okay.
Down to play?
Super down. Let's go. Let's do it.
Let's go. So I'm going to give you some words. I want you to say the first thing that comes to your mind. Don't think about it too hard. Let it come from the gut. Be authentic. Everything is welcome. Okay. Good? You took your deep breath?
I'm great at this. I'm ready.
Shake your shoulders out.
Yeah,
okay. All right, let's go. Theater.
Play.
Cougar.
Tiger.
Drake.
Beats.
B-E-T.
TV.
Plants.
Growing.
Martin Lawrence.
Hilarious.
Wine.
Tasting.
Massage.
Ooh, is that a word?
So it's a word. Massage.
All right.
Was that the word?
Ooh, that's the word.
Oh, okay. Cool. I wasn't sure. If that was the reaction, but that was the word. Gotcha. Hotep. Okay, cool. Sex.
Wow.
Okay. All right. No, got you. Chicago.
Cold.
Garden.
Mine.
The Shy.
Prosperity.
Black.
Me.
Woman.
Love.
Family.
Allowing.
Morehouse.
College.
And the last one, Atlanta.
Time. I don't know why. Time. Atlanta time, I guess.
Atlanta time?
It's always Atlanta time.
Is that like a slow down time?
You know what? I feel like maybe, that Welcome to Atlanta where the players play. It's there that specific time of when the clubs close. I always forget is it like? Is it 6 or is it 8? It's way later than what it is now. But yeah, maybe that's where that came from. Time.
Yo, that's a real thing. Like club culture in Atlanta, and I haven't really fully experienced it in all its vibrancy, but y'all are open.
I mean, yes, they be open out here. They be open. I feel like historically the clubs were like that. Like I didn't grow up in the clubs, you know, I don't even really be in clubs like that. Really never really did. But like Freaknik was a whole era of Atlanta
Yeah.
and just like black culture, I think, as a whole. But like the club, my cousins, my big cousins would tell me I could never tag along with them, but yeah,
You
popping.
heard secondhand stories of the Freaknik?
Second hand, third hand, you know, never saw pictures. But the news, like the news clips, if you
Mm-hmm.
go back and watch these clips, highway shut down, crazy.
Yeah. I remember hearing about it, but I was too young to even think about partaking. I feel like I heard that they were going to do a documentary or something on the Freaknik. I like heard rumors of that.
On the Freaknik. I like the
Yeah. Well,
the Freaknik.
just giving it a proper setting.
I respect it. I respect it.
We appreciate it. So, I just want to set before we start to really get into some more questions. We love to set the vibe here. So we're gonna pull an intention card because we
Okay.
are doing this through the virtual waves. I need you to just send me some energy, think some
Okay.
positive thoughts, so I can see what our collective intention for today is going to be.
All right. All
All
right.
right. So I'm shuffling down. Are you sending?
I'm sending.
Okay, hold on.
I'm centering.
All right, I'm closing my eyes, everyone. I'm shuffling for all the audio listeners. I forget about y'all sometimes. I'm so visual. All right, so I'm spreading them out.
Okay.
Spreading, spreading. They're being spread. All right, take a deep breath with me. Inhale through the nose. All right, exhale, let go. All right. All right, our card for today is I am strong. I'm stronger than I think I am. I reject victimhood. My strength is in knowing that all circumstances are temporary. I focus my attention on what's in front of me. I naturally move forward into new phases of life. I am strong.
Wow, I love that. I love that. I love
What
that. Receive that.
what resonated with you with that? Anything?
Yes.
Specific?
The word strong specifically,
Mm-hmm.
particularly initially, but then the moving into new seasons,
Mm-hmm.
courageously or whatever it said at the end. But like the
I naturally move forward into new phases of life. I'm strong.
naturally, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Um, especially right now, I feel like there's been a season. It's not even like a recent thing, but there's been a season that I've been in personally of constant motion, like a long transition.
Mm.
You know, like the first phase of a neighborhood being under construction or something like that. Like,
Mm. Mm.
yeah. So
A
I
long
received that.
transition. A long
A
transition.
long transition.
Yeah. You're like, is it everyone fully turned the corner? Or are we still transitioning?
You know what I mean? Like a
Yeah.
road trip. And it's like, this is beautiful, but when am I going to get to the next town? You know?
Yeah. 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 Now I received this too. I love it says I focus my attention on what's in front of me. And I'm such a future planning person. I'm like, what's next? Like, how do we get
Mm,
there?
mm.
And so just taking that pause to be like, be where your feet are planted. Like, be where my feet
Yeah.
are planted. They're currently
Yeah.
planted in Atlanta at this moment. And so it's like being
Yeah.
here and being in that
Yeah.
space. Yeah. All right. That was good. That was good. So, Bernard Gilbert, award-winning actor. we already gave you your intro, but I would love to let the people know. I would love for you to talk a little bit about your what got you into acting. Let's talk about that, right?
Okay.
I think
Okay.
a lot of the times we don't get to see, or as we're growing up as just like young Black folks, like we don't really see like a wide variety of career options that are available to us, and it feels like people put very specific things like you should be a doctor, you should be an accountant, or you should be an educator, and the creative route can sometimes feel really risky. So talk to me about this. Like, was this in your blood? You always want to do this?
You know what? I think it is in my blood. I'm not quite sure how. I know my mom started a mime ministry when we were in church when I was a little kid. So I know directly from her, I get that. And she's very creative. Like she's always been a drawer and a sketcher and artsy and craftsy, but uh, the journey has been beautiful. I couldn't have written it myself better. You know, I'm just blessed. I thank God because it's like a series of things had to happen the right way, obviously. But as a kid, I think the first thing I did that showed me that this is what I wanted to do was this little program. It's not little, I won't say little, but I was little when I started doing the program. It's called Odyssey of the Mind, and I describe it as a critical thinking competition. And we would get a problem, and the problem would be telling a story uh, in a skit with parameters. So like it would be like tell the story of Goldilocks and the Three Little Bears with 3 scene changes, 1 time change, and a costume change. And we had to build all our own sets, you know, write our own scripts, and we put them on. We put them on at actual competitions, and I did that from 2nd grade through high school.
Mm, mm.
Through high
It
school.
sounds like it's like really critical thinking. Like it's helping you think outside the box. So whether
Oh,
it
for
was
sure.
for creative endeavors, but just like in life skills.
Yeah, yeah. Because the skit was its own portion,
Uh-huh.
but then we had other portions where we had to do like word association games as a team.
So you've been so this was easy
Oh,
for you, word association.
look, I'm trained. I'm not new to this. You know, it's something I've always loved to do. Word
Mm-hmm.
association, just making things fit and just being, you know, that stitcher of things.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
we also had to build stuff too. So we had to like build bridges or structures out of toothpicks and see how much weight they could hold. You know, we used to geek out about that stuff, but
Yeah. Yeah.
it helped me.
When you said stitching things and putting things together, so the people don't know, but I'm gonna put you out there. You was he nervous for it? Was he like,
I'm
"What you about
ready.
to
I'm
say?"
ready. Nah, I'm brave.
You be having bars sometimes though. Somebody told me that
Oh,
you stitch the words together in a very fluid way.
you know, I'm blessed. Yeah. I love to do it, and I honestly think I'm really good at it. I
There we
write
go.
poetry. I like to freestyle. Uh, I also write like scripts and longer stories too.
Mm-hmm.
So in all fashion, you know, in medium, I love to put them words together.
Love that. So one of your most beloved roles, right? So you've done a lot, but what I feel like people know you most for, what you be in the streets and people be like, I know you from somewhere. Where I know you from?
Hmm.
Is your role as Suede da Masseuse? Yeah.
Suede da Masseuse. That's right.
The
That's right.
masseuse. I love that was like the full like on the scripts. Did it say like Suede the masseuse or did it just say Suede?
You know what? I think I just did that myself, like writing it down and stuff. I don't know if I saw it on the script, but it could have been. Maybe that's where I got it from. I
Wait,
don't
so
really
you just
remember.
you added to the name, like you added to this character,
Suede the masseuse.
Suede the
Yeah.
masseuse.
Suede
Okay.
was already there, but Suede the masseuse. I actually took that not like my actual name, but I had one of my cast members was really good about like using her character and marketing herself with her character, like not in like a cheesy
Mm.
way, but
Mm-hmm.
she like really owned her name
Yeah.
on the show, and I was like, I need to do that, you know.
She embodied
Suede the
it.
masseuse. She did.
So
She did.
so we're talking about this is the Showtime. This is it's still running. It's on its sixth season right now. Showtime's The
Season
Shy.
6.
Yeah, Suede the masseuse. What seasons were you there? You were there for a couple seasons as well.
A few seasons, yeah, 3, 4, and 5
Okay.
so far.
So far, oh, did we give
You
it
never know.
away? Did
Nah, you
season
never know.
six?
You never
Okay,
know.
I don't know. He
You
might be
never
in
know.
season 6, y'all. Don't listen. Don't listen. You never know. Might be a pop up appearance. But
And
talk to me a
I
little
don't
bit.
even know.
No, say talk to me a little
You
bit
know, it's
about the character. People, there was such an attachment. I feel like to that role. Like people have strong opinions. They're like, man, I've seen people come to you. Can't believe that happened to you. And I'm just sitting there like, wow, people were invested.
yeah,
So tell me a little bit
yes,
about this.
yeah. It's been amazing. That's something I didn't expect. the character is not, in my opinion, was not so polarizing. You know, I was really excited to play a character that was just kind of, normal. You know what they say, the straight man. Um, I'm playing significant other to Jada on the show, who's one of the main characters from the inception of the show, and I'm just like I'm her man in a lot of the show. I'm just like a plant dad. I'm cooking pancakes. I'm just pretty much a normal guy, but I do have a lot of jobs, and I was a masseuse, and that's how we met. But people really took to the story, and that's a credit to the writers. Shout out to the writers on the team. But people really resonated, and when, no spoilers, but when my character walks off into the sunlight, I didn't realize the reverberation that was gonna be, so so huge. I mean, I could be in LA, Chicago, Atlanta, and people just like, man, like I can't believe. And it's, I mean, it feels good. My mom too. Like, I don't know how she discovered Reddit, but she found whole threads upon threads upon threads on Reddit of people, like whole chats, discussing and debating Suede and Jada's relationship.
Yeah.
And it just like blew my mind. It still blows my mind.
You got think pieces on your character? That's impressive. That's very impressive. The story was beautiful. It's like you see a guy who it seems genuine, he seems earnest, and he's really showing up for her. And I think that's what we don't, I ain't here to talk bad about men. You don't see that all the time. We don't see that all the time. And then also the age gap. I think that made it a little more racier as well. Like you being the younger male in this situation, and you're like, okay, all right, we here for the cougars. So there were some hot and sexy scenes in the show. Walk us through that. I'm just so interested. Like, do you get nervous?
Walk you through it.
What does that look technically? What is happening? Like, how do you prepare?
Right. I mean, it's super clinical. I'll put it like that. First and foremost.
And did you have to prepare? Did you like train for the masseuse piece or not? How did that work?
Not too much. I feel like I was able to just draw upon my natural proclivity to be good with my fingers.
Oh, okay.
So I didn't really have to. I did, look at some videos though to see how people stand and all of that. Just want to be genuine, authentic. But yeah, no, I really had to do too much. I just wanted to make sure I was comfortable, and not just for my sake, but from my cast member, Yolanda. So great to work with Yolanda. I mean, she made me feel such ease and comfort in those situations. And looking back, and people always, especially my family, it's like, man, you was you was doing the thing with it, and we didn't. I think we might have had one other scene that alluded to the fact that we had intercourse, but besides the first scene, that was the only time we had a sex scene. Yeah. And I think it hit so well, people just continue to imagine that that's what's happening in our relationship.
Yeah.
For seasons.
That one scene.
I was like, okay, that one scene. Like, but it's good though. Always... I mean, I do, like you asked about like how we do the scenes, right? Is that, I mean, it is, people always want to know, like, what's it like? And it's a little awkward. It's a little awkward at first because you're not alone in the room. They say they have a limited crew when you're doing. And first of all, we do prepare, like we have conversations. We have what they call a rider, RIDER, for the intimacy, and it's all choreographed. The director on that was wonderful. I mean, we definitely choreographed all the touches and stuff like that, and the movements.
Wow.
But you try to like limit the crew that's in the space, but it's still people looking at you like you're doing this, and it's like, hey,
that is challenging because you're trying to recreate such an intimate moment that's supposed to be hot and or translate hot and heavy, and then it's just like, okay, move your arm a little here, all right, tilt your head a little here, and it's like I can't embody the role with y'all staring at me, giving me all these pointers. I swear, where
Yeah,
this acting comes in.
you gotta believe it. If you believe it, but yeah, that's where it comes in.
Man, I felt like until knowing some of this, I felt like it was more sexier. So it's really not as sexy as if you see it on TV.
Well, if you believe it's sexy, it'll be sexy. But
Okay.
when you're doing it, no, it's very clinical. It'd be cold. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, it's not sexy in the moment. But if you try to just be there and think, like you say, like be where your feet are, and it's like, nah, bro, this actually is the sexiest thing I've done in my life. You know,
It'll translate
and it'll
that
look
way.
sexy. It'll translate.
So we have a thing we love to do called the dose, the daily dose. All right. So daily doses, I'm going to read you something that I found interesting from pop culture, the news, around about, and then we'll just have some conversation on it. So
Okay.
you are a SAG actor. And so we know that the SAG union is on strike right now. And something that I found really
That's right.
interesting was one of your fellow actors, so Kendrick. So Kendrick's actually, I forget what his role was, but he played on Insecure.
That's right.
He was one of Issa's love interests. I don't remember his name
Yeah.
though.
Early on too.
Yes. And he made it to the end. Or did he make it to? He made it towards the end. Kendrick
I would
38
believe
is his
that.
Instagram. Kendrick 38
Yes.
is his Instagram. So y'all see. So he said, story time. Going through, and this is from his Instagram, everybody. So going through a tough time, like so many people in our industry and everywhere right now. Last week, I got news that I received 56 residual checks. Oh, Lord. All right, I prayed that these are healthy. He put all caps checks to get me through this time. But lo and behold, 50, yes, 50, 50 checks into counting. I had to take a break because the total was $86. This is bullshit. And I know people are struggling much more than me. Shit has to change. This is why we strike. And then he hashtag solidarity and did a nod to the SAG strike. And so I just
Yeah.
had this is that sounds okay. One, let's just talk about that. Sounds wild to me. How do you have 50 checks and they equal $86? So like some of them
Yeah.
are around like 50 cents. Like everything's not even maybe a dollar for some of those. 50.
Yeah.
50. No, I just want to pause because like
Yeah.
for him even saying like 50, like he had to like express it with such extremes because I think a lot of times when you see people on TV, and this is just me being a viewer, you assume that money follows that. And especially someone on
Mm.
such a prominent show, right? Like he's on Issa Rae's like Insecure, like you're on The Shy. And so now what's coming out is SAG actors are striking. And it's like because streaming, what I'm hearing is that streaming is becoming such a major role in how we're consuming content. And so the
Mm.
contracts haven't changed, although the way that y'all are being distributed has changed and you're seeing more you're being put in more places and more eyes are viewing you. But the checks ain't checking, the math ain't
The
math.
checks ain't checking. I'll tell you
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So talk to me. How do you feel about this? Does this resonate? Is this something that you've experienced?
Certainly, certainly. That's wild though. I've never gotten that many checks at once that equal so little. Um, but no, like I've gotten checks, residual checks that are a cent, 2 cents, and it's like you might as well have kept that 2 cents. Like you really
I
could
feel
keep
like
your
it
2 cents.
costs more to print the paper to send you to formulate the check than it actually the value of the check.
Yeah, I mean to even pay attention to the information coming in about the 2 cents costs more than the 2 cents. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's really crazy. But it's a blessing too when those checks when you get one residual and it's like, wow, I did that thing
Mm-hmm.
5, 6 years ago and it's 1,500 out of nowhere. But the other thing too I'll say is like being on digital platforms and not really being able to measure and track for yourself. I know I've had a hard time and difficulty keeping up with my own numbers of things I've been in and where it's being viewed, particularly commercials. I know commercials have the commercial industry communicates and operates with a different entity than SAG-AFTRA and the theatrical contracts that
Mm-hmm.
they're negotiating right now and striking about. but still, it's to me it's like the same
Yeah.
big beast of a thing. And yeah, there's so much that they're striking about, and I stand with Fran. That's that's my president. Fran Drescher has been showing out, and it's like I didn't know I was gonna love her this much. I already really rocked with her, just from the nanny, and being just cold for so many years. But yeah, seeing her and I got to be honest too. This is the most I've been engaged with the union since all the strikes and negotiations have been happening. With the writers too, like when the writer strike started to happen, it's like, oh man, I started to hear rumblings about SAG going through the same process, and yeah, I've been tapped in, and it's good to. I hate that it took all of this, but it's good to
Mm.
be informed, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. No, y'all president she's feisty. Like let's just talk about
Yes,
that.
she is.
And like she is so passionate, but then also just real. I think that's why people like her the most. Like the things that you wanted to say or felt like people wanted to say, she's like, no, I'm gonna say it, and I don't need the language for it. It's coming from the heart right now. No notes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say what it is. So it hits a little different because you know that it's genuine, you know that it's like authentic, and it feels like I almost imagine her going into these offices with these like billionaires and just being like, cut the shit. Cut that shit. And you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if you can do that in this meeting, but you just did that in this meeting, Fran.
She doing it in the elevator.
Yeah.
She doing it on the sidewalk. She doing it
She
everywhere.
doing all the things, but the way she's rallying, like you said, you haven't been as engaged. I think the energy that she brings behind it is really bringing just a new level of momentum to it. Because I'm interested just because I see her passion. It makes me
Yeah.
want to learn more and see more. So tell me what the difference is between a SAG actor and like a non-SAG actor. Like, what's the difference?
It's just the union. Um, to be honest, everybody falls under the SAG rules and umbrella, even if you're
Mm-hmm.
not in the union. Because you could work union jobs without being in the union, but only for so long. So to not be in the union, you don't pay dues, which is, it could be a burden sometimes to have to pay those dues to be in the union, and also the initiation fee. So some people, decide not to join the union right away or to hold off.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're non-union, you can still work non-union jobs. But if you're union, you have to go through some red tape a little bit and get some permissions to work a non-union job. But if you're on a non-union set, you could still hit up SAG and be like, um, I think you could do that. I know if you're on a SAG set and you're not SAG, you could hit up SAG and be like, hey, I have an issue. They still treat you like you're a part of the family.
Got you. So is it just more opportunities are open to you because you're SAG? Like, why would someone even want to join the union, especially if y'all are striking, right? Like, it's like,
Yeah.
okay, let me either cross the picket line or just like divest from it so I can still get this money.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it was necessary for me to join the union. I knew
Mm-hmm.
off rip I wanted to go SAG as soon as I could, because for me that it made it real. The fact that I have to pay these dues just means I need to get this money. Um, and it's been a blessing. I really think that the favor has followed me from being faithful. Okay, no, if you caught the FFF,
Bars.
but the consonants. But you get health care, a pension, there's retirement. Um, there's the residual checks. Like I think there's a lot of reasons why you would go SAG, and also just the ceiling is just so much higher.
Yeah.
Like you're really in the game. I feel like that's the pros. That's the league.
Yeah. I heard you say that. Well, one, I didn't know because there's a lot of industries that don't have pensions. Like my parents, both my parents worked for the state of New Jersey for a really long time, and so they're like, you need to get a job that's gonna have a pension. And I'm like, ha 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 ha, that doesn't
Right.
exist for my generation anymore. Like what? People are barely trying to get their 401ks off the ground. So that's amazing that they provide those type of resources and just security for y'all. Because when you
Yeah.
hear actor, it feels a little like, I don't know, is it just you get what you
Aloof.
kill? Yeah, and like how do you like family plan, or how do you plan for the future? So that's beautiful that they do that. But you said something about commercials and like theater is separate from SAG. So the strike right now, SAG actors are on strike. You can't work. Is that's the deal?
You can't work on a SAG project that uses those contracts.
Okay.
Like these are the way I understand it. These are the bigger contracts. These are like the Netflix joints, like the bigger studios, like the ones we see, the
Yeah.
blockbuster type joints, and like the huge TV show type joints. Um,
But
yeah,
commercials and theater, you said are under different contracts. So actors who normally you would see on TV and movies, you could shift to theater during the season and that would be okay.
certainly, yeah, for sure. I mean, my commercial agent has been like adamant about letting us know, like this does not affect commercials. This does not affect
Mm,
commercials. She even went so far as to say like it's it's against the rules if you try to be in solidarity with the SAG situation and not work your commercial job if you have a job. It could get you in trouble. Um, and theater is a whole different union altogether. Commercial, I didn't know that about the commercial thing. It's interesting because it's the
yeah.
same union. Like there's still SAG commercials, SAG actors and SAG commercials, but apparently it's a different entity that they talk to. But theater is actors equity. It's a whole different. It's a whole different world. And really,
Okay.
you should be. It was the same thing with actors equity for me. I was like, I want to be equity as quick as I can, but it's the same problem. You go equity, you can't work those non-equity jobs like you could before you joined the union.
Mm, mm. And from the strikes perspective right now, like on a personal level, um, how does this affect you? And like, as I'm hearing about it, I guess I'm always thinking about in terms of like gender and race. Like, does this affect
Mm.
like Black actors more than it affects other actors? Does this affect like women more than it might affect other like groups?
I mean, I imagine it's affecting women more because everything seems to affect women more in terms of
That's
how
always the right
you
answer.
know.
Thank you.
I mean, it's just what I've noticed. You know what I'm saying? Especially as an actor. I knew when I was really coming up, fresh out of grad school, I would hear my friends, my women friends that are actors talk about how it's just felt harder,
Mm,
and I believed them. You know what I mean? Because if to a degree, I felt the same way about being just a black man, let alone just them being a woman. So I definitely empathize because it feels like you're competing as a woman. You're competing. There's like a higher level of competition, not between each
mm.
other, but for the roles. Like there's just so much supply, not enough demand. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah, yeah.
So I imagine this time is particularly tough on women and black women. Um, but I don't know. We'll see. I mean, because I feel like really the line probably is between those actors who you know their names already, and those who are just everyday working actors. You may not know them, but they've been able to support themselves and their families. I think that's really who it's going to affect. And then I guess if you look at that demographic and then start to look at, well, who are those people?
Mm, mm. So not so much about like Black actors, but like if you're known versus like the everyday working actor is kind of like where it's really the divide is here.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure they're gonna feel it. I mean, I know I'm gonna feel it. I've already kind of been in a transition. Thank God that I'm like already looking for other avenues to stay engaged because you have those spells, you have those seasons where like the phone not really ringing off the hook right now, and it's
Yeah,
okay. But you have to decide like how am I gonna stay engaged? You can't just wait around and wait for something to happen.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
you have to pivot. It's definitely pivot season.
Pivot season. So since we're talking about pivots, we know that you write as well. And that I recently heard, because I've been staring at your Instagram, we also been talking about it. But you just launched this workshop series. And so I'm gonna go out and say this. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But it's to support other actors or people who are looking to like step into the acting industry. with
That's right.
skills and tools to like just progress their acting career. And so it's called the Deep In Acting Workshops. Um, because the SAG actors are on strike, I guess, is this like a good opportunity for people to be brushing up, or like what should people be doing? What would you be doing, or what do you recommend other actors be doing during the season?
Most definitely, like 100% is now is the time to re-educate, to get trained, to really dive into what it means to be a part of the craft. Um, I think it's, everything happens for good. I believe. So I think now people can look at just the art form and what the whole digital media era has done to the art form. And I think we need to step back as artists and be like, okay, well, what are the actual quintessential principles of this thing I'm doing as an artist, as an actor,
Mm,
particularly? Um, and it's something that I wanted to do for myself and wanted to stay engaged and continue to harness and train myself and stay sharp. And it's hard to do it by yourself. So why not form a community around you? Especially when I was in Chicago for 10 years, I'm back in Atlanta, and I wanted to actually find the community, find my tribe in that. And I felt like that the best way to do so was to build it.
mm. Okay, so you've had a few of these already. What was the feeling of having this be a thought and then seeing it manifest to the world? Because you're usually used to being on screen, so it's different being behind the screen, kind of like giving those directions.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, it was crazy until it wasn't. I mean, it was such a thrill. Like I wasn't planning on it. I've done some workshops in conjunction with theater while I'm doing a show at the theater,
Hmm.
um, like as a program that the theater is doing. But so I was familiar with the feeling of teaching a workshop. But for it to be all on your back, though, for it to be you walk in, they looking at you like, who you? What's this? Like, I might have seen you somewhere. I seen you on TV, but like, do you have the juice to actually help me?
Yeah.
And what I learned about myself was that I do. I I I got that. It really just affirmed for me that I have uh, a talent for working with talent.
Mm.
Sculpting, cultivating, talking, communicating. Because it's different being a director, because that's kind of what you're doing in that scenario. You're directing people and trying to pull something out of them and guide them. And it's different being the director and talking to an actor, and it is being the actor talking to the director. Like
Yeah.
you almost want to be, you want people to talk your language when you're the actor, and it's frustrating when you feel like you're having to translate and you know kind of meet them a little more than halfway and
Mm.
interpret what they're saying. But when you have a director that knows actors, and just really what it boils down to is knowing people, like when you could just talk to the person and find that inroad for that person, that's really all it is.
Mm. Mm. So, because putting this all together, um, it sounds like you have a lot of things to pull from. Like you have, I'm looking at your crayon box, and it's like I can act, but I can write, and now you're like teaching, and you're using that as well. And so, I think when you think about just a creative and an artist, being able to like translate what you do or how you're feeling into different mediums is so important. I think especially now when somebody's main source of their main career, their main job, their main source of income is being like pampered in a way. It's like, how do
Mm.
you pivot? What are the other things that you could tap into? And what's crazy is that you would think that most actors um, go into like those writing and producing roles, and even that shut down. So it's like, okay, so now, like, how do I pivot on the pivot? And
Right.
your pivot on the pivot is these acting workshops, which is like beautiful timing, honestly. Was this something
Couldn't
you've always
even.
been thinking about? Or how did this?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I honestly have been putting it off. I
Mm,
feel like
mm,
God has been like for a while, been like, all right, now, whenever you're ready. But like the whenever you're ready is like your blessing is there whenever you're ready. You just gotta. And I'd be like, but God, I'm trying, I'm acting. I don't want to do that yet. I
yeah.
want to be like the actor first. I want to get my credits up, which is, honestly, maybe the way it was supposed to happen anyway. I don't feel like I was just obstinate, but my mom is a teacher, my grandma is a teacher, grandfather was a teacher. Like I come from a whole family of teachers and preachers. Um, and I just did not want to be in the classroom. Like everybody
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, you got your master's now. Like you could go teach." And I'm like, "I could, but
Yeah.
that's not why I got my master's. I wanted to be a master, not to be like go run to the classroom, you know." And I just also have a thing about classrooms. Like I just don't like the fluorescent lighting. Is like,
Well, you're
you know,
teaching the workshops not in classrooms. They're
right,
very creative spaces, right? So
right,
it's not the same at all how you're doing
yeah,
this. Um, Bernard, Bernard Gilbert,
yeah. Alicia Ferguson.
the actor. Is there something that you want to leave the people with?
Uh, yeah. I'll drop my Well, I guess I don't have to drop my handles and all that,
No,
right?
outside of that. Yeah,
Okay,
outside of
okay.
that.
I'm trying to be better about that. I was like, well, I should do that. That feels like I should do that. But love. The first thing that came to my mind
Yeah,
was love. I want to leave
yeah.
people with feeling full. I want to be a
Mm-hmm.
blessing to people. Like that's really what I pray for, to just be something that people can look at, can see, experience, and leave with the feeling that God is good. Like that's really what I've been praying
Mm-hmm.
for lately. Like let me just be a testament, to how good you are, God. And I feel like that what I've been learning is that it stems from love, that stems from being having gratitude and being present, and
Mm,
which are all things that I think make you a
mm.
great artist too.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I love that. That was beautiful. I feel like everything comes back to love. One of my favorite quotes is this Rumi quote, and it's like love is the bridge between you and everything. And so
Mm,
that's just that connecting piece. Everything you desire, just add a little sprinkle, a
mm,
little love on it, a little love on
mm. I like that little
it.
love back. Though.
Ooh, little, I have one more thing I want to ask you though is so in terms of just like looking ahead and expectations and hopes that you see for the future in terms of like diversity within SAG and just the entertainment industry as a whole. Where do you see that? What are your hopes for that?
It's maybe controversial.
Ooh,
Maybe not. I don't want to gas you. But
he said, "Hot take here.
I
Throw the bombs right now. Boom, 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 boom."
but I feel like, and I'm not taking in a lot of stuff. Honestly, I don't watch that
Mm-hmm.
much TV, to be honest. Um, I try to stay up on it, but I like what I like, and I try not to just be influenced too much. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Um, but I would like to see more diversity in the types of roles we play. Now that may be like a stale take, but
yeah,
I would love to see. I honestly feel like people in my type, you know,
yeah.
are looking for us to be funny, and that it just feels tired to me. I When I think about the roles I want to play, I don't picture black people. If I do, it's like past generations, and then it's like one
Mm-hmm.
or two.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the Portiers and the Denzel Washingtons, and it's like, I do want to play those roles that I'm seeing these white guys play now. They're
Mm-hmm.
super dramatic, and I'm looking at the black guys, and this is such a generalization, I know, but it feels like we're just funny, honestly, or they want us to be funny, not that we're
Mm-hmm.
just funny.
Yeah.
And I've learned that, I think in my journey as an actor, is that I am funny. I've learned that I'm funny, and it's like, oh, okay, I never really wanted to be the funny guy. I still don't really want to be the funny guy, but I feel like I've been made to lean and like explore that part of me, which is not a bad thing, but it's
Mm-hmm.
still like I'm not really seeing what I want to do. Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not seeing me do what I want to do. So that's why I got to do it.
Ooh. Okay. All right. I know we're about to wrap up, but like, what would that ideal role be for you that you're not seeing? Is it
Um,
a detective? I don't know. I don't know why that came to my mind.
I would say that Jordan Peele. Jordan Peele writes a lot of stuff that I can see myself in.
Mm-hmm.
Juicy, dramatic, not over the top dramatic, but like I I want to be able to cry on camera and like people crying in the audience. You know what I mean? The thing, like I felt that on stage. I've been on stage and I felt that energy between me and the audience, and it's like they with me. You know, I can feel them breathing with me, crying with me. They feeling what I'm feeling, and I want to be able to feel those intense emotions on camera. And I've been able to like play some roles where I've been shot, you know, and it's like, oh my god, you know, and it gets real dramatic, and it's like, you know, people like I've watched people watch me do stuff like that, and they're like, oh my god, you know. But yeah, I want to do the stuff where I ain't gotta die to feel these intense emotions. You know what I mean?
Insert the Empire role there when Cookie shot you. What was her real name?
Taraji Henderson.
Taraji. When Taraji shot you, because you was doing the most.
Henson.
Okay?
I said Henderson.
Henson. Come on, get it right. It's Taraji's
I
name.
know. Taraji. I always end at Taraji. She's just Taraji. She's been just Taraji for so long. You know what I mean?
Oh, we love that. So we were talking about like the actors who've made it versus just the everyday actors. It sounds like you were transitioning. You were pivoting into the other. Because it's just Taraji right now.
I've been pivoting. I don't know her like that. I'm not saying we on a first name basis, but I think she's in her one name bag right now for sure.
Thank you so much for shedding some light on one, just really have a deeper understanding of the Black perspective in terms of how this is working for SAG, in terms of how people can get into acting, in terms of what that experience is like, because it is so different, and the nuances and the roles, like you're saying, that are offered, even down to what the residuals be looking like. It's like a peek. You like opened up the window, or kind of like opened up the book, and what it really is like to be an actor who's in transition. Like you're known, people know you, right? You're not the everyday actor, and you're like working towards where you want to go. And so, thank you for sharing. This has been beautiful. Y'all, please tap into the Deep In workshops. We'll be dropping the link in the show notes. Support an actor, especially since other things are shut down, y'all. Ways to support, tap in right there. And right. Is there anything else you want to leave the people with before we wrap it up?
I appreciate
nice little bow. That's what Deja loves to say.
And you know, I'm glad you mentioned Deja, because I just want to say I appreciate you and Deja, who's not present right now, but she's present in spirit. Always. And I love y'all. I love y'all together. I love y'all individually, and I'm just so grateful to have been able to be a part of this Dose of Duality era that is being initiated right now. Season 2? This is season 2? Season 3?
This is season 2. This is our first virtual episode, and we're slowly coming to the close of season 2 right now. It's wild.
It's wild.
It's been a wild journey.
It's happening. And it's the beginning.
Oh, thank you. We received that. I received that. Yeah. I'm saving this for Deja, and I'm tossing it over to her so she receives that as well.
For sure.
This has been another Dose of Duality, your weekly dose of duality. I am Alicia Ferguson, and I cannot wait to see y'all next time. Please like, share, subscribe, do all the things. And please check out Bernard Gilbert. We'll link all his information in the show notes. Till next time, have a very blessed week, y'all.